What's going on, y'all? I'm Shane McFadden, and this is the Truckers Hustle. And today, I'm going to be giving you the 5 smartest things that you can do as an owner-operator, or 5 good things that you should really have in the forefront of your mind if you're looking to become an owner-operator. Now, keep in mind, these are all things that I have personal experience with, some things I've made mistakes with, and I have learned essentially from everything that I'm about to give you. So let's jump right into it. Here we go. Number 1. Determine whether you are going to run as a subcontractor or if you're going to be an owner-operator with your own authority. This is very important. This is one of the more paramount steps that you should take, because you don't want to go out here, buy a truck, and be stuck and not knowing where you're going to go with it, who's going to hire you, who you're going to subcontract with, what kind of freight you're going to pull, are you going to start your authority, how long you have to wait. There are a lot of factors that go into it. And this is the one thing that I can honestly say I made a mistake with. I went out, I purchased my truck, I got it. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to subcontract for somebody. I knew I wasn't going to start my own authority or anything like that. So I didn't have the money vested to start my authority. So that's why I was like, I'll subcontract. But my mistake with this was I waited too long to make those connections that I was supposed to make. I put the carriage before the horse, so to speak. So before you even decide to go out and buy your truck, talk to people that are subcontracting with certain companies. Okay, whether it's Mercer, Landstar, Admiral Merchants, Bennett Transport, Boyd Brothers, and then there's another one, TSH, Tennessee Steel Haulers, things like that. I know I'm giving you guys companies that, kind of cater to open platform, but keep in mind, that's my experience for the most part throughout my 10 years of being in the industry. All right, so have a plan before you go and get that truck, because once you get that truck and you're paying payments on it, those payments aren't gonna stop, especially if you're paying a weekly payment. So you need to keep that in mind. All right, subcontract or owner operator with your own authority. That's number 1. Number 2, once you have figured that out and you already have your truck and everything like that, now you need to start working on your paperwork as far as your LLC, getting that incorporated, figuring out how you're going to incorporate. Is it going to be a limited liability company? Is it going to be an incorporated company? Are you going to be a sole proprietor? Which I strongly advise against going a sole proprietor route, but for another video. Okay, and along with getting that LLC stuff taken care of, you're talking about your 2290 HVUT, your IFTA, your fuel tax agreement, which is the IFTA, whether you're gonna set up whatever type of account you're going to use for your fuel program. If it's going to be a business account, or if it's going to be something through EFS or Comdata or TFS, if I remember correctly, it's one of the, or TCH, one of those other companies. But you want to have that stuff lined up as well. But that is going to come in step 2. Along with getting your LLC, you need to make sure that you have your federal employer identification number set up as well. That is free. You go, you register for that number, and you get it. This is important because when you do your paperwork as an LLC, they're going to ask either for a social security number or an FEIN. Listen very carefully to this. As much money that is out there in the industry right now, no times are hard, but it's still a considerable amount of money to have tied to your social security number. Okay, so that's why you want to go ahead and you want to get that set up, get that FEIN number, get that set up with the LLC, and make sure that that is in place. You don't want your social security number tied to any of this stuff, because IRS will be watching you, and they will definitely be having some questions for you if they see a certain amount of money coming in. And step number 3, along with that FEIN number or that federal employer identification number, you need that so that you can start your business account. Okay, this is very important as well. You don't want your social security number tied to any of this stuff. And this isn't a thing of, well, that is it legal, illegal, whatever. Trust and believe me, it wouldn't be a thing if it didn't exist. And that probably sounds crazy, but have that number and use that number along with your LLC, your articles of incorporation, things like that, so that you can establish your business checking and savings account. Commingling funds. Those are two words that you kind of want to get familiar with, but you want to avoid it as well. And when you commingle funds, you're basically taking your business money and you're mixing it with your personal money. So, perfect example of that, you take a payment from a company and they pay you $5,000 to run a single load. $5,000 is a lot for a simple load right now. But just an example, $5,000, that money supposed to go to the business. And you starting out, you're likely going to say, hey, well, you know what? I made that money. That's my money. Yeah, it goes to the business and I made it under the business, but that's my money. And that's the wrong attitude to have, man. So, and you take that money, you take all of it, you take 100% of it, or whether you paid for fuel out of it or whatever, but you take all of that money and now you're paying your little personal bills with it, your car note, which isn't tied to your business, your rent, which isn't tied to your home, your apartment, house, whatever, and that's not tied to your business, your insurance that isn't tied to your business, anything that is not tied to your LLC or your incorporation, and you're using that money on a personal note, that you start getting into the commingling of funds, and that is something that the IRS does not like. Okay, so you definitely want to avoid that. Step 3, remember, get that business bank account set up, but you're gonna need your FEIN to do that. Step number 4, allot funds for incidentals. This is very important. All right, the biggest thing out here on the road right now for everybody that will get them either, I don't want to say put out of service, but sitting on the side of the road, is likely going to be a blowout. Now, if you go out here, you got your new truck, you know, you did the proper inspection on it, everything like that, and the tires are fine. Hey, cool, that's no issue. But depending on what kind of contract you run, depending on where you go, you could pick up something. Like a lot of times I ran steel, I ran coils and I-beams and stuff like that. And a lot of those yards have a lot of metal and nails and scrap metal, sheet metal, things like that, that can be scattered throughout the yard. So tires love to pick that kind of stuff up. You might not always get a blowout, but if you just so happen to be parking at a truck stop one day and you get out and you do your walk around and you see you got a nail sticking out of one of those tires and it's in there pretty deep, that can prove to be a problem. And then you start asking yourself, okay, well, how long do I have on this tire? How deep is that nail? You know, will it cause a blowout? These are the things that you ask yourself, because now you're getting into the mode of whether you want to take certain risks or not. And me personally, I do my very best to not take risks on tires if I don't need to. Okay, if I see something in there, I need to get it fixed. And likely, if it's a simple nail that starts off small and it starts off not to be that big of an issue, you might be able to get it patched, and it might not cost that much. It might cost you anywhere from $50 to $100. It's a lot cheaper than a brand new tire, which I'm not ashamed or afraid to say I spend about $700 on my tires, because I want tires that I know are going to be reliable. I've only put tires around my truck. I've had my truck now since 2017. I've only put tires all around on my truck one time. All right. And I haul a lot of stuff with, as far as like steel, heavy freight, things like that. I put more tires on my trailer than my tractor, but I mean, you've got a different situation going on with the trailer. So definitely have money set to the side for incidentals like that to happen. Something will come up. It's the nature of the beast. It's nothing that, you know, if you're doing everything the way that you're supposed to be doing it, it's nothing that you're doing most of the time. It's just how things happen. Now, if you go out here, you're hitting and jumping curbs and stuff like that, okay, that might be on you, you know, or you see something in the highway and you know you can avoid it and you choose not to, but you run it over anyway, and then you create a problem for yourself. That's on you. A lot of times, man, some of it's inevitable, and that's okay. And step number 5, make sure that when you have all of this stuff together, you do one final walk around on that truck before you get yourself together to go on the road. All right. And this might be a funny step, but it's like, okay, well, if I'm doing my pre-trip inspection, then I should be good. That's true. But that final walk around, the final walk around that I'm talking about is you taking the time to really look over that truck to make sure that there's nothing going on with it that might put you out of service or might put you in a position where you're gonna have to deal with some downtime. And you'll see it, man, when you get out here, especially as an owner operator, you'll come across some things that might be kind of questionable that you're like, okay, I think I can get away with another day of doing that. Let me just get this load done, or let me just get up the street and I'll solve it after I get this load off. You'll come across those kinds of things. That is the nature of being an owner operator. I want to say being a truck driver, really, but as an owner operator, that's something that you're going to be faced with. So I'll call it the final walk around, okay? You are about to take your first load either with a contractor, a subcontractor, or under your own authority with your own company that you actually went out and you acquired yourself. You take the time, man, to walk around one more time and say, okay, I know I'm good. I know my tires are good. I know my brakes are good. My suspension, shocks, my fifth wheel is good. The slide is great. It's greased. The pins are good. There's no fresh metal anywhere. My exhaust is right. It's tight. All my fairings are good. My mirrors work. Every light works. No problem. My hood latches are doing what they're supposed to do. I got my license plate. I have all the stickers that I'm supposed to have on my truck on both sides. They're the right size, and I'm good to go. That's the final walk around that I'm talking about. Get yourself together, man. Get in your truck. Have all those 5 things taken care of, and you'll be good. So let's recap. Number 1, determine whether you're going to be a subcontractor, you're going to run your own authority and do business that way. However you're going to do it, that's your primary step. All right. Number 2, get your LLC set up. Your LLC, your HVUT, your IFTA, all of that stuff, your FEIN, get all of that stuff set and ready to go. All right. Number 3, make sure you have all of that paperwork done so that you can get your business account started. A business checking and savings account, very important. Without the FEIN and the articles of organization, which will come from your LLC or the incorporation of your company, that business account will not happen. Okay. Some banks want a certain amount of money down as well. Some banks don't care. Number 4, whatever amount of money is necessary for your incidentals. I'll throw a number out there for you. $2,000. Okay, have that ready, and $2,000 will cover probably 4, maybe 5 tires. Okay, if you ever find yourself in a position where you need to replace 5 tires at one time, you did something wrong somewhere. But that's not a bad number. I would say that's pretty decent. It's pretty average. It shouldn't be hard to manage that. Number 5, do that final walk around. Make sure everything is good before you take that first load of that first contract, and you will be set. The mistakes that I made, I put the carriage before the horse. I got the truck, and I didn't really have a plan for who I was going to contract with or who I was going to take freight for and all. I didn't make that plan, and that was terrible on my part. And along with that, I thought I had my LLC taken care of and set up and all of that. No, I had a portion of it done, but I didn't have everything else done. The HVUT, the IFTA was done because I had to do that to get my registration plan, but the LLC wasn't really set up. I had the FEIN, but I didn't have a business bank account. It took me 2 or 3 years to get my business bank account. And how I managed with the money and getting all of that stuff in, I had to really separate things, and that made it difficult, which means I had to keep receipts, and that was the hardest part of it. When you have your personal account, I had all that money going into my personal account. when you have it set up like that, you have to be very frugal in how you spend. And you have to make sure that you are accounting for what your company expenses are. That is so important, man. That is so important. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be in trouble. And I almost was until I caught it. So do not do that. Don't commingle funds. Get the FEIN set up. Get that articles of organization that you need to have so that you can start that bank account, man. That is very important. That's the most important step out of all of this. But for you to be successful in your trucking business, you need to follow it in the steps in a format that I gave it to you in. So those are the mistakes I made, man, and those are the mistakes that I will never make again. I can't. I'm already started now. And then another thing was making sure I had the money allotted in case something happened. That's very big. Now, I didn't really run into a lot of issues or anything like that, but I had a truck with a bad EGR system on it. And a bad EGR system along with a bad thermostat. And nobody knew how to change a thermostat on a Cummins ISX. At least that's the perception that I had. So I had to figure it out myself, which I will also make another video for, and pretty much teaching you guys how to manage working on the small little things under the hood and on the truck without having to spend the money at some of these shops that charge a ridiculous amount of money to fix something small. But yeah, thermostat was bad, which caused me to spend more money in fuel. Truck was overheating all the time. And like I said, the EGR system was bad as well. The truck was coming up on an overhaul. I had 597,000 miles on it. Well, it really wasn't coming up on one, but when you don't know the maintenance history of a truck like that, and it makes certain sounds, that's usually what I come back to. I come back to saying, yeah, I need to either rebuild something or spin some bearings in and kind of take it from there. But look, let's be successful, man. Let's make sure that we do this the right way. You get yourself set up and on the right track. Go make that money, all right? Don't forget, like and subscribe. Share this video with someone that you know may be looking to get into trucking or switch industries or subsectors and maybe trying to become an owner-operator. Let's make sure we set them up right, man, and let's go get what little bit of money is out here for us to make and call ours, all right? In the meantime, I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.
Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it.